some have liberated another town from Al-Shabaab. Also coming up, more than 120 health workers have died of Ebola across West Africa since it broke out in March. Once again, you're welcome to NTV at 1. Farmers across the country have petitioned the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, asking her to recall a move by Parliament to impose tax on agriculture inputs. Under their umbrella civil society budget advocacy group, they believe that the imposition will have a direct bearing on the agriculture sector, which employs the biggest number of Ugandans, no matter their qualifications and status. They demand that government focuses on other tax avenues to support the budget other than agriculture, which drives more than 70% of the total employment sector in the country.
Yes. The farmers themselves. Yes. They are glad that they can turn it to farmers.
Government can get extra taxes if it increases access to business registration. We know government can increase revenue if it deals with corruption in this country. We know government can increase revenue if it invests strategically in the agriculture sector. We know government can have enough money if it stops luxurious spending. For example, reducing on the number of parliament. For example, ensuring that State House does not duplicate services, and ensuring that we only commit to only those resources that we are able to absorb when we are getting debt. So there are so many other alternatives.
And even when they put these taxes, it means food insecurity will increase if the farmers don't engage in farming as they would be if the taxes were not put on the agricultural inputs.
So we shall have it presented, and the explanations and evaluations will be considered during.
Uganda's agriculture sector raising more concern from civil society and farmers across the board. Now, from the Ntonde District Security Committee and officials from Uganda National Health Consumers Organization have launched an investigation into the alleged misappropriation of over 6.4 million shillings and procurement of substandard beds. These were distributed to Ntonde Hospital and to different health centers. We have a report.
The beds and the mattresses which were found in the staff quarters were originally meant to be in the hospital. The other beds in the health centers were of substandard quality.
In this inspection, we have even found a mattress. And there are two in number. One is already outside, and I think this one is also another.
This discovery came as the district chairman, Fred Mohanji, complained that 6.4 million shillings had been misappropriated and over 40 beds of substandard quality had been fraudulently procured and distributed to 13 health centers in the district. Charles Kasozi, the program officer for Uganda National Health Consumers Organization, says they are investigating why patients are not getting quality services at the health units and why some of the beds and mattresses are being used by the health workers.
To get a bed like this to be given to a health unit where a patient is going to sleep, I think it is very disheartening.
The officers who are involved, all of them from word go, they should all be arrested and be put in.
Some nurses at Kinuka Health Center said they were using the beds and mattresses because the health center has no store. But some patients told the security committee that health workers deliberately refuse to give mattresses to patients who suffer, while there are bare beds that can be used. The beds and mattresses were taken to Ntonde Central Police as exhibits.
The Somali government has now taken full control of the Bakor region in the north of the capital Mogadishu after it captured the last town of Tiglau. This has been a strategic town for the Al-Shabaab militants who used to collect revenue from transporters and other road users. The African Union peacekeeping troops, or AMISOM, claimed that the Al-Shabaab militants did not put any resistance. Several Al-Shabaab fighters surrendered and were handed over to the government.
Ebola was liberated after Somalia government forces, backed by African Union peacekeepers, launched an operation they named Indian Ocean. Ebola is a remote town lying about 530 kilometers in the north of the capital Mogadishu. The town connects Baidoa and Beledweyne. After the fall of Ebola, AMISOM forces are now defusing improvised explosives left behind by Al-Shabaab. The explosives were meant to slow down the movement of AMISOM troops. Indian Ocean was a joint operation by the Somalia National Forces, AMISOM Army and Police. AMISOM plans to advance to other areas occupied by Al-Shabaab in a renewed strategy of reclaiming more territory for Somalia government.
Uganda has submitted a proposal to the Global Fund for over $190 million to help put a stop to malaria, which kills about 100,000 people in the country each year. And this money is part of the over $420 million allocated earlier this year to Uganda from the Global Fund. The main focus is on saving lives of Ugandans from the effects of HIV, tuberculosis and malaria. The chair for the country coordinating mechanism, Professor Vinod Naturia, says by the end of October, a large chunk of the money will be requested to jointly fight TB and HIV. Naturia has also appealed to Ugandans to fight for their rights to proper health care and forego their docility.
Is that we have brought together stakeholders, people from the districts, some of our donors, the Ministry of Health, the private sector, to discuss the priorities, to consult on the priorities we should include in a Global Fund application. The Global Fund allocated about $420 million to Uganda, and that money will be accessed on the basis of proposals we send there. We already have funding to the tune of $15 million for the TB program to be running. In terms of the health systems, now the health systems, the issue is that we want a functioning health system. And we shall be presenting a proposal also on how we shall strengthen our health system.
This particular allocation we are discussing here is a very small proportion, very, very small, of the entire programmatic needs or programmatic support to the three programs, HIV, AIDS, malaria. To be precise, I think it's about 11% from each program.
Ntv at 1 takes a short break. We'll come back with more stories that are making headlines this.
Use White Star Laundry Bar Soap with a lemon fragrance and you'll have a fresh, clean day. Be like a star. Use White Star.
Don't disturb Daddy. My daddy is a star.
White Star Laundry Bar Soap. All day fresh clean.
Stand up to be counted. Brought to you by UBOS. It's your right.
You look worried. Have these people of census also come to your house? Must they know all about my personal issues? Why not?
Mama John, being a single mother should not stop you from answering questions about your home and children. Women can ably answer.
Don't hide John and Mary from them. How will they know that such situations exist in our community?
And our leaders need to know our problems to plan for us.
Census is here. Get ready to be counted. Starting from 28th August to 6th September 2014. Together, we count. This message is brought to you by Uganda Bureau of Statistics.
Ariel claims to give us the best stain removal in one wash. So we'll collect tough stains, red sand, fruit juice, chocolate ice cream, to see which gives the best stain removal in one wash. We'll wash one half with Ariel and the other with premium detergent. Did the other premium detergent remove these stains? And Ariel? Yes! Ariel, best stain removal in one wash.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Men.
Every man, in his search for progress, struggles with the question of whether they can change from where they are to become the man they need to become.
You cannot change if you do not realize that where you are is a wrong place. Once you're satisfied with where you are, it becomes so hard for you to change. You cannot be looking forward to something new.
A righteous man may fall 7 times, but he gets up and he walks. The idea is a man can be in right standing with God, but he can fail.
Even kids in schools, they need to change to be more serious.
We've done fake stuff. I mean, we've all had colossal messes and you know, we've changed.
Only on Men.
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Welcome back. This is Ntv at 1. Authorities in Gisoro district have set up health teams to monitor cross-border movements in 4 sub-counties along the Uganda-DR Congo border in a bid to check the Ebola outbreak. The development comes a day after officials in the DRC confirmed an outbreak of Ebola.
Gisoro district in southwestern Uganda borders the DR Congo and Rwanda. District officials have announced the establishment of screening centers at the border points to prevent the spread of the deadly Ebola virus that was reported to have broken out in neighboring DRC.
We trained 150 to do community surveillance because being a border, you have people who cross from DRC and come to Uganda without necessarily passing through the official border.
The Gisoro District Health Officer, Dr. Steven Sabiyumva, says the health teams have been put on high alert in the sub-counties of Murumba, Nyarubuye, Busanza and Nyagishenya.
So we have intensified the surveillance so that whoever enters in and has signs and symptoms of Ebola is picked on as early as possible.
Earlier on, the State Minister for Primary Health Care, Sarah Opendi, had cautioned the district authorities to step up their vigilance following the outbreak in the DRC.
Please keep up surveillance because there are so many cross-border activities that are going on between the people here and the people in Congo.
The minister was speaking at the commissioning of the maternity ward of Gisoro Hospital that was recently renovated by the community. The money for the renovation was got from a charity run. Mrs. Janet Museveni, who commissioned the ward, thanked the police and the locals for working with the government to improve health facilities in the district.
For the common good, to bring hope to the mothers and to families as a whole for the safe delivery of our children.
Gisoro Hospital is one of the biggest health facilities in the area and registers a patient load of more than 5,000 people every month.
And still on matters Ebola, the World Health Organization has said more than 120 health workers have died of the disease across West Africa. They're claiming the epidemic had affected an unprecedented number of medical staff. These and more stories up next, including the strikes in Libya and what is happening in Syria so far.
In a statement yesterday, the World Health Organization said more than 240 health workers working in Guinea, Liberia, Nigeria and Sierra Leone have developed the disease, with more than 120 succumbing to the epidemic. The announcement came as Japan said it was ready to provide a Japanese-developed anti-influenza drug as potential treatment to fight the rapidly expanding Ebola outbreak. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga told reporters yesterday that Tokyo can offer the tablet Favipiravir, developed by a subsidiary of Fujifilm, anytime at the request of the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization said earlier this month that it is ethical to use untested drugs on Ebola patients given the magnitude of the outbreak. And a senior U.S. administration official said President Barack Obama has authorized surveillance flights over Syria in order to gather intelligence on the Islamic State group. Today's move could mark the first step towards U.S. airstrikes against targets inside Syria. The White House said Obama has not yet made a decision on whether to take military action inside Syria. The U.S. is already launching airstrikes against Islamic State targets in Iraq. The group announced last week that it had murdered an American journalist in Syria and was threatening more U.S. hostages. In other news, the United Arab Emirates has secretly carried out airstrikes against militias in Libya using bases in Egypt, according to U.S. officials. They said the United States did not take part or provide any assistance in the bombing raids. According to the US-based paper, the first airstrikes took place a week ago, focusing on targets in Tripoli held by the militias. Egypt has denied conducting airstrikes or other military operations in Libya. The new developments marked a dramatic expansion of the conflict and came as the US and its European allies denounced the escalation of fighting and violence in Libya and urged a democratic, peaceful transition.
Look at sports now. Man United have agreed to pay a British record transfer fee of £59.7 million to sign winger Angel Di Maria from Real Madrid. And Manchester City's manager Manuel Pellegrini is delighted to see striker Stevan Jovetic make the most of his fresh start at the club.
Manchester United have agreed a British record transfer fee of £59.7 million to sign Argentina midfielder Angel Di Maria from Real Madrid, according to British media reports. Several media outlets reported that United have finally sealed a deal for Di Maria after several days of negotiations with the Spanish club. The 26-year-old was said to have been arriving at United's training ground on Monday as he prepares to put pen to paper on a reported 5-year contract worth an estimated £200,000 a week. Meanwhile, Manchester City manager Manuel Pellegrini heralded Stefan Jovetic's perseverance after the Montenegrin striker scored twice in the Premier League Champions' 3-1 win at home to Liverpool. Jovetic endured a frustrating debut campaign at City, with injury and illness restricting him to only 11 league appearances, but he appears rejuvenated after a successful pre-season. He scored either side of halftime in last night's game at the Etihad Stadium, taking him to within 1 goal of his tally for the entire 2013-2014 campaign, and Pellegrini said it was a reward for his determination.
They looked to be lethal last season, but this time they've been taken to school by cracking hot Manchester City, which has invested over $600 million in that squad. We're going now to, this is on Ntv at 1 by the way, but we're moving to our Studio B to check on our experts who are about to bring you detailed sports roundup from across the globe. And Alan Darren is there. Alan, this week's one of this week's biggest stories, which is also sad news, the death of Albert Ibose, who's been playing his league football in Algeria. His death has led to the Algerian Federation of Football, to cancel all sports activities, that including those that are about to take place the 29th and 30th. But now the example of Ibose, how well equipped, because we have seen some hooliganism taking around in our league games, fans sometimes fighting and rushing onto the pitch. How well equipped in terms of security are we in our local league, which is has been surrounded by a lot of politics? How well equipped are we to guard against such incidences? Because it's happening in Nigeria, but you never know, it could happen here as well.
Well, Malcolm, I'll certainly tell you these things have happened, including last season where Daniel Alves was thrown banana at while Barcelona was playing a match, if you recall, last season, and then the banana campaign started all over on social media with Neymar leading that campaign. But if you look at the way the player, the name I got right was Ebose.
Yeah, Albert Ebose, he was hit by a projectile.
And the league was put to a halt because an object was thrown to him and later on the player died. If you look at the Ugandan league here, probably I'll go back down to the facilities. Look at the Nambole Stadium. wherever around the terraces, around the entire terraces, there is nothing like a fence or a net. So probably a player who walked in with a bottle or a coin can throw it down to the pitch. The luck we have is that we haven't gotten to that scenario where people do throw objects onto the pitch. But if you go to other facilities like Wankurukuku or Nachivubo, where the terraces are a bit elevated compared to the net, and the fans are actually many because it's easier to have fans get to Nachivubo. Reason being it's closer to downtown than Nambole. So incidences as such, we hope they do not get here because...
But how well equipped are our stadiums? Right now it looks like there's nothing, meant to protect the players in case, because there was a politician who was, fans were pelting water bottles at him, and that was really quite unfortunate. I believe it could happen in football as well.
Yeah, probably if anything was to be thrown at Nambole, where I do think a lot of football will be played this coming season, I don't think whatever is thrown can get to the pitch and hurt the player because the terraces are way, way far away from the pitch. Now, that's the advantage we have. And other facilities where it's closer to the pitch, we just need to have much more security, especially in the stands, or probably do a little more scrutineering or checking the people before they get into the stadium. For example, the Lugogo Stadium for KCC.
And Darren, let's talk about this expensive buy by Man United. Of course, many football pundits are saying they do not need a wing at this time and spend that lot of money, but a defensive midfielder and then a defender. Do you think Di Maria will change things at Man United? That is if he gets onto the pitch. And of course, the introduction of Rojo from Argentina as well.
I don't know whether it's just par or right in the right time that we are talking about Manchester United and it's you, Malcolm, asking the same question. But one thing I can tell you is I think Di Maria will bring a change to this side, especially going forward. If you just recap and look at the game they played over the weekend at the Stadium of Light, I thought the players who are moving to the front were not creating enough spaces. Now, Di Maria's style of play, you ought to think with his pace and everything, he can cope well in the Premier League. Probably we'll pray. Even the Manchester United fans, they do pray he probably doesn't get injured because those are some of the things
you're really
that
talking
can
about injuries. Arsenal should stand warned, right? Okay, so thank you very much, Darren. Now they take you on. They'll give you all you need, updates, and then fixtures, and of course the transfer is coming to close. They'll give you all the news. Watch Omumuli. That's it on NTV at 1. Enjoy your afternoon and catch us on Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget NTV Mobi. The application is right on your phone in case you need all the updates that's happening on NTV. Good afternoon.
NTV, turning on your world.
Tigo yabakojjange bagenda kuzanya. Yes.